I think they are having a meeting or something. I can hear them walking in the hallway. I don't usually come down to this level, you know, this like people level. Like the idea that they are working for me is of course false. They are working for the projects. They are working for for the land. Because if you think about it, the only way to get any kind of connection to Mother Earth, to Gaia, is to by acquiring land. Am I a hippie with the Gaia stuff and everything? Well, no, it's not really an ideology. You kind of call Mother Earth an idea. Just like, you know, I don't have ideas. I have Earth. I have land. So I would say I'm not above ideas, but I operate in a different plateau. You know, it's a very muddy plateau. I would say I'm working with the fundamental questions of, you know, well, let me give you an example. Like in art is really about the crisis of ownership. You know, people buying things from artists and artists feeling kind of bad about selling things. That's the like whole post-war era. That's like New York in the 60s. People being scared to sell things. So they go conceptual. You know, this is not my area, but you know what I mean. So, in art there is this crisis of ownership, and I think if artists would go back to land art, there would be no crisis of ownership, because I think land art was the only moment in the history of art, well, excluding like the Giza pyramids and all that stuff. But land art really is the only moment in art where there was no crisis about ownership, people not being scared of selling, people not being scared of like, ooh, I'm an artist, I do objects, you do land. It's like a collaboration. It's like, I would say Mother Earth is the greatest startup we have ever had. I like how the word acquiring, it reminds you of aquariums. You know, so it's a very watery project. It's a very watery gesture to buy land. It's like you can buy a river and it changes all the time, but still you own it. You own the change. And when you buy land, what you actually buy, what you get is change. So these people working for me, they are working for the land, I have to say. It's like I'm Moses and they are cab drivers in Egypt. Let's say this is a piece of land that I've purchased, you know, I've acquired this, yeah? And this would be the energy. Well, it's an energy, it's the man, like the universal man. It could be Alexei the dog, it could be any living being, but it's a being in the land, you know? So, if you walk in a boring land, then your life is boring. But when you walk in an exciting land, like this Baltic herring pesto we have here, like this, and you're like the grapefruit from Athens. This is, you know, imagine Baltic herrings and some grapefruit from Athens. That's exciting. So this is my poetry. People have asked me a lot of times if I'm a poet, and my answer is always I create poetic platforms. So I would say, well, yeah, it's what a landlord does, provides, you know, yeah, real estate, but in this case poetic estate. A state of poetry, if you will. And sometimes I like to eat.